Coming to this now, some funeral parlours are angry at the Home Affairs Department, and they want the department to speed up the issuing of death certificates and to further allow recognised funeral associations to register certificates. Now, disgruntled funeral industry participants are expected to hand over their list of demands, this to the department's head office today. eNCA senior reporter Aviwe Mtila is following this story and joins us now for the very latest. Colleague, good morning to you. It seems there's a list of demands here that have been tabled by these associations.
Certainly, Tumela, and those issues will be ironed out, and a memorandum are expected to be handed over at the Pretoria head offices of the Department of Home Affairs. That protest outside there should be starting at around 10 a.m. But now I'm in Soweto at Chomane Funeral Services to understand some of the challenges that are plaguing the funeral industry. We understand one of those issues is relating the easing of the regulations when it comes to the issuing of death certificates. I beg your pardon. But just joining me now is the director of Chomane Funeral Services on board. Chomane, thank you for joining us at eNCA. But where are the red tapes?
Aviwe, thank you very much. The red tapes is basically when it comes to the registration of death at the Home Affairs. You find that as an undertaker, you must be given a designation number by the Home Affairs. Now, the designation number gives you, or permits you rather, to be able to do a death certificate. Now, in order for you to have a designation number, you need to have your own mortuary and be able to have a certificate of compliance. Now, you find your emerging smaller undertakers, they do not have your certificate of compliance, therefore they could never have designation numbers. Now, so they struggle when they go to Home Affairs to try and do the certificates and so forth.
Okay, just to understand the issue better, you're saying the small funeral parlours don't have these certificates because they don't own mortuaries. But I hear that government facilities such as hospitals also don't have mortuaries, and some private hospitals don't have mortuaries, yet they get these certificates.
Well, I wouldn't know about that, but I know some hospitals, they do not have mortuaries. That is why when there's a deceased there, they give you a very, very limited time. They say, please come and collect the deceased because we do not have the mortuaries.
Okay, I just want to understand the challenges now. As we in this COVID-19 pandemic, we're expecting a third wave, talks of a third wave. How funeral services and funeral parlours operating currently?
Look, currently we're just taking caution. We are ready for anything that can happen. The numbers are going up slowly, not as the first wave. We hear of the third wave, but we haven't really seen the third wave. I wouldn't want to say maybe the third wave is here or it's not here, but to be honest, things are not as bad as the first wave. But we are ready for anything that will happen.
Okay, and then this protest going to the headquarters of the Department of Home Affairs in Pretoria, what would your demands be? What would you want government to attend to as funeral parlours?
Look, there are so many challenges. We as the funeral parlours, we have so many challenges. For instance, the red tape, I understand the red tape that the government wants we, the funeral industry, to comply, which is very important. Compliance is non-negotiable, but I was once a small undertaker, I was once a beginner. I once did not have a mortuary. So I started as a beginner. I wouldn't say now that I have a mortuary and think that now those who do not have mortuaries must not be able to operate. I think the government needs to come into place and sit down with the undertakers and see how they can meet each other halfway. Because really and truly, there will always be beginners. And not everyone, when they start, they will have all the necessary equipment or all the necessary requirements. But then probably maybe the government should give them a timeline to say maybe after a certain period, maybe 2 years or 3 years, you must be able to have certain. But closing them down and saying no, they can't be able to operate or they cannot be able to go to the Home Affairs and get certificates. And I think what needs to happen is that the government and the funeral industry need to meet, sit on the table and see what they can do.
Thank you very much. The director of Chomane funeral services, just trying to paint a picture of exactly what the issues that are plaguing the funeral industry. I understand the smaller funeral parlours can't get certificates of compliances because they do not own mortuaries. And one of the complaints is that the hospitals, government and some of the private hospitals don't have mortuaries yet. They are allowed to operate and rent out some mortuaries. So we'll be keeping a close eye as those protests happen, moving to the Pretoria head offices of the Department of Home Affairs.
All right, colleague, we'll be sure to, of course, check in with you with regards to those updates. That's eNCA senior reporter Aviwe Mtila.